This is my guide for getting a 1cc in Esperade. I would consider myself perhaps a beginner stroke intermediate shmups player, so I'm by no means one of the best players out there. But this guide's more for people that want to try and clear the game just for survival. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be breaking down each stage using save states and going through each bit and commentating through certain really key areas or difficult areas, and later on in the stages 4 and 5 I'm perhaps going to do separate subsections for really important parts like the big tank, the 2 yellow tanks, and places where you can leech yen cubes to build up your bomb meter to try and keep as many lives as possible until you hit Gara, because really you want to be hitting Gara, in my opinion, with 4 lives and between half and full bomb stock, because that guarantees you the clear pretty much, because you can bomb your way through the tricky patterns later on in the game. And I believe that it's really sensible to also have 2 lives with some bomb on the final pattern, because that thing can be very, very unpredictable and really catch you out. And if you're there with 1 life, it can be GG's very quickly there. So you want to make sure you've got that little buffer there with a full bomb so that you can take her out. Okay, so that's a good start on stage 1. I can get a little bit more sometimes, but ideally you want in 1.1 million as a minimum really, because that guarantees you the buffer for the 4 and the 8mm extends with Yusuke. You can now play a little bit more freestyle through the game without going for the 16 multipliers on the other stages. You can just sort of survive now and just continuously hold down your straight shot and your power shot pretty much consistently now through the rest of the game. Hope that helps people that were struggling to make the 8mm extend with Yusuke, because it's much easier with JB and Aurora. So in stage 2 you just want to sort of be right in the middle of the screen and just basically speed killing all the big stuff really. You can freestyle this stage. Sometimes go for the 16 multipliers like that. Right in the turret's face and back off. Cancel on him. Try to take these 2 guys out quick. Okay, so the reason I use the bomb there instead of just surviving at the bottom of the screen is we want to slowly push up our yen cube meter so that when we get to stage 5 we can get up to either 400 or 500, and the reason for that is that you can bomb your way through the Alice clones and then refill your bomb stock off of the idle beetles just before Gara. That's the plan on this run. Stuff always changes on this game because it's unpredictable as fuck and the hitbox is janky as hell, but that's the plan. Is as soon as we start stage 3 now, we should immediately start refilling our bomb. Okay, so that's stage 3 done, and it's important that you charge your bomb a little bit for that boss at the end, because if you use mini bombs in this game, it hardly does any damage, and you just use far more bombs. So to charge up a good quarter of a bomb there, go right over the top of the boss and cancel out the last pattern, and then you should land with ideally the high 200s to 300 yen cubes. If you're on 300 yen cubes, you'll immediately start dropping bombs off of the enemies at the start of stage 4, but either works. So here comes stage 4, and this is where the difficulty of the game really ramps up. Okay, so I'm going to show you where to collect the first extend in this game. It's hidden on the train on the right hand side. So you want to take these 3 guys out first, then this guy, get over the train, and just hang over the middle of the train here, and you'll get the first extend on the game. Okay, so as you can see, it's much easier to kill those guys just before the final boss with Yusuke, because you can get up close, get right in the faces and take them out before they become a problem. With JB and Irori, those guys just before the boss here are very, very tricky, and sometimes you've got to use a bomb to get out of that situation. As you can see, we've made the second extend in the game now, because we've crossed 4 million points, so we're on 5 lives with 3/4 of a bomb stock. Now ideally you'd like to be here with a full bomb, because this boss can be an absolute twat. In my opinion, I think he's the run killer, and he's probably the hardest boss in the game. Maybe Gara's a bit more tricky, but when you get to her, hopefully you've got 4 lives and you can use bombs to get through the trickier parts. Okay, so that's ideal. That's what you want on stage 4 final boss. On most runs, you're more than likely going to have 4 lives here, and I'm mostly full, if not full bomb stock, because that boss there is the RNG god, and sometimes you get a really easy go of it, sometimes you get terrible patterns, but generally you want to be hanging at the bottom right corner of the screen. Okay, so that's what you're going to need to do with that big ass tank when you've got no bomb. So if you've got 5 lives and no bomb like I have done now, that's the way to survive the tank. Now you're probably going to lose your first life because you've now got this big ass yellow tank. It is possible to take it out without a bomb, but in most cases you're not going to be able to do so. Ideally, I would have hit 300 yen cubes at this point, and then I could have possibly got some bomb and got through it that way. But every run you do on this game just goes wildly different. I found there's no real set route for this game, and that's what makes it so damn hard. Is that you just kind of gotta YOLO it sometimes and react. I think that's why this game's so tricky to clear. So this is probably going to be my first death, but that's fine. That's no problem. Okay, so usually I die around the yellow tanks or the big tanks just after them, and that's perfectly fine because I plan in for a bomb recharge at that point. In which case you can use a little bit of bomb to take those tanks out, and also the section that just comes after those tanks can be quite scary at times, so feel free to use a little bit more bomb just to clear that screen, because you want to arrive at this mid-boss with 4 lives and between half and 3/4 bomb like I've got now. And then what we're looking to do here is just chip off a little bit of health off this boss, do the whole round the world thing. Be very mindful of the yellow tanks coming in off the side of the screen because they can fuck you up. As long as you've got between 1/4 and half bomb when you're going into the next section, that's enough for the strategy that I usually go for. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to get near 400 yen cubes, but not get 400 yen cubes. And the reason for that is you don't want the bomb refill to start as soon as you go into the Alice clone section. What you want is for it to happen in the middle of that section. And the reason for that is that you can then bomb through the jumping Alice clone section, take out those beetles, and then hopefully you've got enough left to bomb refill off of the idle beetles just before going into Gara. So it's a bit of a exact timing on this, but if you can get it right, you can essentially go into Gara with a full bomb on 4 lives. Okay, so that's quite realistic on a run. It's very rare that you're going to be able to get a full bomb stock off that. Having said that, if you do earlier on in the game at stage 1, purposely use a bomb there as well, you can actually inflate your yen cube to like 500, and that gives you just a little bit longer on that section to make sure that you can bomb through it and get to those beetles, because sometimes you run it a bit close there. Okay, so that's the ideal pattern at the start of Gara. She throws out a couple of really terrible patterns, and I'm not gonna lie, if you get those shitty patterns, you have to bomb. So you're just praying that you get that pattern, because it's, as you can see, it's much more dodgeable. You can stay at the bottom of the screen and you can just simply macro dodge the pattern quite well. If you get the overlapping pattern twice in a row, you're forced into using all of your bomb, and sometimes you can't even get past that section and get into the Gara part with your 4 lives, and then you've only got 3 lives left, which can make things quite tricky if you're not bomb efficient. But looking at the score we've just got now, it's nice. We're just short of the 8mm extend, so we're probably going to get it like in the middle of the Gara fight, which is great. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, that's the pattern you ideally want. If you get the shitty pattern, you've just got to dodge it as long as you can, and then when you think you're just about to get clipped, do a charge bomb to do a lot of damage, and just hope you can get through that bit. That pattern could be an absolute twat due to the unpredictable slowdown. So if you lose a life, get out of there. Again, that pattern can be very tricky, so just do the best you can. So you lose a life, and then charge bomber. Get above her head here, because she always fires the initial purple pattern down. Trapped a bit there. So you're just looking to get underneath her and power shot her basically. That was a bit silly. But now we've got resource. If you ever die like that, just charge up a bomb, wait for the blue hands. Follow her off the screen. Huge damage. Same thing again here. Oh, no, she's done. Yeah, I hope that helps, guys. If you've got any other questions about anything in the run, feel free to drop it into the comment section. And good luck with your run. Cheers.